Becoming a millionaire, it's a dream for many. But what if I told you you could start with as little as $200? That's exactly what some traders have done flipping meme coins. Or maybe you've seen somebody get airdropped a free NFT worth over $10,000. These are not fantasies. This is a reality in crypto that we see every single day. But how are people turning these small bets into life-changing money? And if you're just getting started, where should you focus your time? Well, in today's video, we're going to discuss 8 different ways to make money in crypto. I will rank them based on my own personal experiences, having made 6 figures in airdrops, as well as life-changing money trading NFTs and meme coins. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Crypto Gorilla video. As usual, I'm not a financial advisor. All of this is just my opinion. Hit that subscribe button and let's jump right into it. All right, first up, we have probably the most boring, and that's just going to be buying tokens. Now, you've probably found yourself Googling in the past, how do I 10x my money with crypto? Should I buy Bitcoin, Solana, Trump coin, whatever? Now, I won't lie to you. If you're expecting to buy Bitcoin today and 5x your money within the next couple of months, you're really late to the party. Despite what you might hear all over TikTok, you are no longer early, because over the last 2 years, we've seen incredible growth in the crypto market. For example, after the last crash in Bitcoin, it went as low as $16,000. And over the last 900 days, keep in mind, the average cycle lasts 1,000 days. So we have roughly 3 months left, potentially. Nobody's able to predict that. It could end earlier or later, but it's gone from 16K all the way to breaking all-time highs at nearly $112,000. That is a 7x return on Bitcoin. So to expect a 5x return from here, especially in such a short period of time, is not going to happen. Now, the same goes for some of these popular altcoins. For example, Solana at the lows went as low as $9. It is currently trading at $180. So that is an 18x return on Solana. So same thing, expecting a 10x return. That is pretty greedy. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen, nor does it mean that there's no upside left in altcoins. In fact, I still believe Bitcoin has plenty of upside, and in the long run, I believe it's going to go to over $1 million per token, but that's going to take 10, 15, even 20 years. And I know most of you don't care about the next 20 years. You care about the next 20 days. So if you want those crazy returns, you're going to have to go deeper down the barrel here and find some more risk on tokens that have way higher upside to give you the returns that you're looking for. Now, there is some good news as the masses are not here yet. If we look at Google Trends, Bitcoin is literally breaking all-time highs over $100,000, and barely anybody cares. Like, we have not broken through any of the previous levels during the previous bull runs or last time we broke all-time highs. So the masses are not here. And when they do decide to join, prices are going to go parabolic, which typically happens near the end of any cycle. And what they're going to do is they're going to see Bitcoin at 100 and maybe by then $50,000, and they're going to say, okay, that's too expensive for me, but hey, if Bitcoin can hit $150,000, maybe Dogecoin can hit $10, and they're going to make some gambles. So it's definitely possible to get a 2, 3, 4x out of some of these altcoins within a period of a few days, and then a 10x out of some of them within a few weeks. However, if you're expecting to put $1,000 in XRP and turn that into $1 million, in my opinion, that is never going to happen, despite what you hear on TikTok. For those kind of returns, you're going to have to do some other things on today's lists. But as for trading altcoins, I'm going to put that in the for everyone category because it's just something you're going to find yourself doing naturally. Next on the list, we have NFTs, which if you remember NFTs from last cycle, people were paying millions of dollars for monkey pictures and pictures of pixelated heads. Now, when it comes to making money in NFTs, there are 2 different methods, but you can do both at the same time. You don't have to limit yourself to one. The first way is through whitelists, which in 2021, this was a cheat code. It was a guaranteed, yes, guaranteed way to make money, because having a whitelist back then meant your spot was reserved to purchase that item. So when people were buying it on the secondary market, you could see, oh, they're paying $1,000 for this thing I can go buy for 100, go buy it and just dump it on the market. And we were doing this literally every single day. It was amazing. Fast forward to today, yes, you can still make money with whitelists. For example, we just had Monster Capsules and Tokyo Games over the last few days, both of which were flippable for over $1,000 for whitelisters. However, this is not happening at the same rate we had in 2021. We also have a ton more issues like over allocation, so your whitelist spot is no longer guaranteed. You have to grind for months on end just to get a whitelist spot for a project that most of the time doesn't go anywhere. And we now have over 20 different chains that there's whitelists on. So it's extremely overwhelming. Now, the second way to make money in NFTs is by trading on the secondary market. So you don't care about the whitelist, you just want to play the market and swing trade or day trade, whatever it is. Now, you still run into the issue of having over 20 different chains to trade on. Although chains like Polygon, Optimism, Flow, nobody cares about those for NFTs. The main one is still Ethereum. And then we're going to go through metas. Like right now, you'll notice there are plenty of abstract NFTs that are trending right now. That's because right now it's a meta. And then maybe in 3 weeks from now, everybody's going to want to trade Avalanche NFTs. And in 2 months from now, Mega ETH NFTs, and so on. The cycle is going to keep going. So this is definitely a way to make money. However, like I said, it's no longer 2021. So there's less price action. There's less volume than we saw last cycle. Now, even though you can learn skills to become a better NFT trader, at the end of the day, it's still gambling. I wouldn't put it on as high of a scale as meme coins for gambling, but these are just pictures and I assume most of them are going to zero. It doesn't matter if Kevin Rose raised tens of millions of dollars for the collection. It doesn't matter if the founders of Rick and Morty are dropping something, and it doesn't matter if Nike bought out the collection. Most of these are going to zero. So I'm going to put this in the skill-based section where if you do decide to do it, you need to go all in. But like I said, it's not the main character. The main character is the next way to make money, which are meme coins. Meme coins have dominated this cycle. Last cycle, it was NFTs. We had celebrities coming in and dropping rug collections. Now they're all dropping their own meme coins. In fact, we even have the president of the United States who last time dropped NFTs. This time he came out with his own meme coin. And this is where the crazy profits are being made. Everybody wants to become a meme coin millionaire. And we've literally seen people turn $100 into over $1 million within a couple days because they bought and held the right token. Now, meme coins are hyper gambling. This is roulette for most people. Yes, it is possible to learn skills and make it more like sports betting, where you have a better understanding of the market and you start to make better picks. But last time I checked the statistics, over 97% of meme coin traders lose money. So in terms of odds, you are literally better off going to the casino and putting it all on red. But high risk, high reward. On a daily occurrence, we see people sharing across a timeline 5, 6, even 7-figure P&Ls. So this is the place where dreams are made of, but also where you ruin your entire life. Now, if you want to get started in meme coins, you're going to need to understand these token launch platforms, which is where most people are launching coins, but also buying coins from. So pumpfun, Boop. I have full videos explaining this stuff, which I will link in the description down below. You're also going to need a really good trading tool for which there's a ton of options. There's bullx, Photon, Shuriken, Nova. There's a bunch releasing in the next few weeks that I'm going to be making tutorials on. I already have a bunch of tutorials on a bunch of these. Again, in the description down below. And a lot of these tools also have their own airdrops that they've been teasing for over a year. So I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but if it does, that would be great money. But I wouldn't go use a tool to get an airdrop because you're going to lose all your money trading meme coins. If you want to trade meme coins, use a tool and then look at the airdrop as a bonus. So for meme coins, this is where the dreams are made of, but the most high risk area in all of crypto. I'm going to put this in the skill-based section. So it's another place where if you want to do this, you need to go all in, build your network, surround yourself by like-minded individuals, use the right tools, Twitter trackers, wallet trackers, whatever it is. You need to be hyper focused in order to succeed in this market. Next on the list of ways to make money in crypto, we have leverage trading, which this does take a long time to master. Leverage trading is where you are trading essentially beyond your means. So let's say you have $1,000. With leverage trading, you could trade at 10x the value of your portfolio. So even though your entry is $1,000, you can trade with $10,000. And if the token, let's say you're long on it, so you believe it's going to go up, if it goes up by 2x, you don't make $1,000, which was your initials, you make $10,000 in profits. So a lot of good leverage traders have made millions of dollars doing this, but the downside is if the price goes down by a certain percentage, not going to zero, if it goes down just a certain percentage based on how much leverage you're using, you lose all of your money. So it's not like buying Bitcoin and then you hold it, the price goes down, as long as you don't sell, you're fine. Here, if the price goes down, you get liquidated. And it's very common on high volatility days that we see posts about how $500 million was liquidated in the market. That's because $500 million of leverage traders' portfolios were just evaporated. So leverage trading is one of the main places that people actually go broke in crypto, right next to meme coin trading. So if you have an interest in this, which I do too, like don't get me wrong, it's something I have been learning over time. I would not expect to start leverage trading today and become a master at it before the cycle ends. I would look at this as your tuition, you're just learning, and try to become a good trader for the next cycle. So leverage trading is definitely going in the skill-based category, meaning you need to be hyper-focused and really spend every day learning about this to really get good at it. Next on the list, we have ICOs, and I'm going to throw pre-sales in there, but they're pretty different. So ICO stands for initial coin offering, which if you're used to stocks, you have IPOs, initial public offering, and it's essentially a project that allows you to invest in them at a certain valuation, often very high, and the promise that once they launch their token, which unfortunately, there's no timeline on this stuff. It could take them 3 years to go to market, but when they finally launch their token, they're going to give you some of the token, and it's often vested over 12, 18, 24 months, meaning you don't get your entire investment in day one. It takes 2 years to get your entire investment. Now, I could go into more details about this, but ICOs have absolutely sucked this cycle. So I'm just going to say they're worthless in 9 out of 10 cases and just not worth doing. So don't do these, especially that we're near the end of the cycle. By the time you get your money in most of these, we're going to be deep in the bear market and it's going to be worth zero anyways. So probably for most of you, you should avoid at all costs unless you know what you're doing. Now, the area that I'm interested in are actually pre-sales, which it's very similar to ICOs. You're investing in a token that you get at a later date, often at a much cheaper price, because pre-sales are often used for meme coins. And the real difference here is there's no lockups on your money. More often than not, you get 100% of your tokens on day one, because usually it's for a meme coin, and meme coins are so volatile and they get rugged and they die so fast. Nobody's going to ask you to wait 18 months to get your money. Now, a good example of a token presale would be Wink. Wink was the second AVAX presale in this whole presale meta that we saw. And if you had an allocation to this, you absolutely printed. If you had the top allocation, which was the right to invest $800 at the top here, it was worth over $200,000. And this is in less than a week's time. It launched on the 12th, and by the 15th, it had hit over $140 million market cap. This is what dreams are made of in crypto. But on the downside, look how quickly it died. Within 2 days, it went from 140 all the way down to 3 million market cap. So it's not that this stuff is without risk. There's definitely high risk. However, when it hits, it really hits and you could make a killing. In fact, pre-sales this cycle is one of the places where I've made incredible money. Now, a pre-sale isn't always this huge campaign that's done in partnership with like a legit partner. We have public pre-sales, which look, 99% of the time, these are scams, okay? But the way it works is somebody probably known or sometimes not known at all will tweet out a wallet address and say, send me money, I'm launching a token. Yes, send some anonymous person you have never met over the internet across the world money and hope they don't rug you. 99% of the time, it's a rug, but there have been cases like this token, Book of Meme, which went parabolic. For some reason, Binance listed it and it went all the way to 2 billion market cap. If you put money into this pre-sale, if you randomly sent this person money over the internet, you cleaned up, you killed it. And even now the token is still at 170 million market cap. So if you did the pre-sale, I'm assuming you are still way up on your money, even though it's down from the all-time highs. But again, I don't want you to go out and think that this is going to happen with the next pre-sale you see on Twitter. you're most likely going to get rugged. So really be careful with this stuff. However, the third method of pre-sales, the one that is trending right now, is Virtual's protocol. I have an entire video explaining how to do this on my channel, which I will link in the description down below. But essentially, you collect points. Those points allow you to enter these token launches, for which I put together the history of token launches. There's actually been a few more since this. However, both went very well. But if you look at the 23 tokens that had already launched when I put this together a few days ago, 22 of 23 were profitable. And look at these returns. It's not like a 1.5x, 2x. We have 10x, 25x, 14x, 38x, 44x, up to 112x. Virtuals has been cooking, and these kind of pre-sales are absolutely crushing it right now. So this definitely goes in the for everyone category. If you're able to figure this out and do it well, I think it's something that everyone should pay attention to and probably participate in. Like, not financial advice. I'm not telling you to put money in any of this stuff, but pre-sales are definitely on the for everyone category, that you don't need like crazy skills like meme coin trading in order to be successful. The next way to make money in crypto is through airdrops. Airdrops are when a project rewards their community by giving them free money. Sometimes it's a few bucks, sometimes it's a few $1,000s, and there has been cases where people have received 6 to 7 figures. Individuals receiving 300,000, 800,000, over $1 million in an airdrop. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, here's an example. Think of Facebook. When you first signed up, you provided them with all your data, you uploaded images, you invited all of your friends. This helped them tweak their algorithm. It helped them grow their user base. It helped them raise more funds. It helped them sell to advertisers. So by using you, the company was able to become a multi-billion-dollar valuation company. So with all the success they got, did you get any shares when they went public on the stock market? No. They don't care. They don't do airdrops. But in Web3, this is a norm. The projects reward you for using their services and helping them get off their feet, helping them have enough users and test their product so that they could raise and go live. And it's actually something that people expect from projects in Web3, and a lot of projects use it as a way to lure you in as a user. Now, it's still very speculative because when they do finally launch their token, we have no idea how big the community airdrop is going to be. We have no idea how much the token is going to be worth, and maybe it's going to take them 2 years before they launch their token. So you're still making a gamble with your time, your effort, and sometimes your money. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, there are 3 different kind of airdrops that you could grind. There are chains, there are apps/websites, and there are games. So let's start off with chains, for which there are 2 different stages. There is the testnet stage and there is the mainnet stage. So testnet is when the chain is testing their chain. So everything you do on there is free. You are not paying any fees. So if you enjoy doing this, you should definitely take advantage of testing things on the testnet and hopefully getting an airdrop, for which right now there is Somnia that is on this testnet. And I have a full video guide on this, which I will link in the description down below. Now, once they go live with their mainnet, this is where the real work is done, but you're actually going to have to spend money on transaction fees because you're going to need transaction volume. You're going to have to do swaps. You're going to have to bridge. And I can make a whole video on this. In fact, I have many times, but you're going to have to spend money. And to be honest, most of the chain airdrops have been extremely disappointing. Now, there's still some that I'm farming, like Abstract. They have a great badge and XP system, but for some of these chains, like, I wouldn't go ham farming them because you're more than likely going to be disappointed. Now, the second type of airdrops are using apps, websites, things like that. And this has been incredibly lucrative. Now, there is a caveat here, so wait for that. But if we look at apps or platforms like Hyperliquid and then different exchanges like Magic Eden and Blur, some of their airdrops were incredibly lucrative. Hyperliquid, which is a leverage trading platform, was one of, if not the best airdrop we've seen this cycle, where I know people who were airdropped over $1 million for having used this platform. And then when you look at the NFT exchanges, I got airdrops for Magic Eden, for Blur, and then for dexes like Jupiter, where each of my airdrops were worth 4 to 5 figures. I was given for free over $10,000 just for using a product that I was already using to trade. So one that I'm using right now in the hopes of getting an airdrop is OpenSea, because they have their shipment/XP campaign, but I wouldn't go out and do this stuff unless you're already trading NFTs, unless you're already leverage trading, because if not, you're just going to get wrecked and lose your money doing this. Same for a lot of these meme coins. A lot of the tools like bullx and photon have promised us airdrops, but don't go trade meme coins hoping to get an airdrop, because you're going to lose all your money in meme coins. But if you're already actively trading, it's worth looking at what tools have an upcoming airdrop so you can make some extra money. So those are the types of airdrops that I would only do if I was already trading. However, there are airdrops for free that I suggest everybody do. And at the moment, these are platforms like Kaido, Ethos, Cookie. I have made over $10,000 simply for tweeting about things I was already talking about through Kaido. And Kaido has this Kaido Earn program where you could see there's a bunch of things you can talk about. They have the leaderboards with a ton of upcoming tokens as well as a ton of existing tokens, where if you tweet about them, you get points, and those points eventually lead to money. And again, this is 100% free to use. We also have Ethos, which is a platform where you could review other people on Twitter, and they just did an airdrop for their NFT, which is currently trading for roughly $6,000, airdropped for absolutely free, and eventually we're hoping that they're going to have a token. Next, we have Cookie, and their campaign just went live, and I'm hoping to make some good money by doing this. So these are just some examples, but these are all 100% free to use. You don't have to invest any money, and I know people are going to complain that some of this stuff is gatekept, but if you have a good network, like I know clusters, groups of people where 30 of the group, there were maybe 100, 30 of them got airdropped those Ethos NFTs, and they made over $200,000 as a group. Like, these are where the dreams come true, right? In crypto, these types of airdrops, because you don't have to put in any money. There is 0% chance of you getting rugged outside of your time and effort that you put into it. Now, the third type of airdrop is going to be games. We call these play to earn games, and you've probably seen a lot of them. Things like Off the Grid, Maple Story, Oh Baby Games, where the assets in the games are trading sometimes for hundreds and thousands of dollars. However, a lot of us are also anticipating token airdrops for some of these games, like Cambria, which their first 2 seasons went incredibly well. There was a ton of prizes to win, but people were stacking points for a future token airdrop. So if you enjoy playing video games, this is definitely a niche you should check out, because you can make money while playing a fun video game. So for airdrops, it was kind of split up because there's 3 different kinds. I'm going to put some of them in the skill-based category, and that's going to be for airdrops like Hyperliquid or OpenSea or whatever it is, where you need to actually be trading and spending money while farming the airdrop. And then for the free ones, I'm going to put those in for everybody, because you definitely need to be doing this. It is free money you are leaving on the table. Next on the list, which I debated putting this one on, but it is content creation. And the reason I put it is because a lot of people want to become a content creator. Now, I have a Twitter where I'm able to get sponsorships from, sponsored posts, or I'm an ambassador for different stuff. I have my YouTube channel where I can do ad placements, or I can also have sponsorships, or put a referral link in the description down below. Click them and make money off of those, because I have a reach to a wide audience. And then on top of all that, it also gets me whitelists to really hot NFT collections. It gets me access to pre-sales, like some of the ones we spoke about. It gets me alpha, because people just want to be my friend because I have a channel. So don't get me wrong, being a creator is great and the pay is insane. Like, I am in a very privileged position. However, it's not easy to do. It takes a ton of time. I have no life. And I think anybody who wants to be a content creator in the crypto niche, you are headed in the wrong direction. My recommendation would be to get really good at something and then share your experience. Just naturally post about it. Show that you're making profits or whatever it is, because people want to see that you're making money, and then they're going to follow you. And then you are naturally going to become a content creator. Don't go into this saying, I want to be a content creator, because you're just going to post things chasing engagement, and nobody's going to actually care about what you're posting. When I first got started, I eventually found NFTs, and I became really good at spotting hot whitelists and good NFTs to trade on the secondary market. And because NFTs were the meta, everybody flocked to my channel. Similarly, if we look at somebody like ICO Beast, he got really good at trading AI tokens and identifying them. And then he got access to teams. Maybe he got access to pre-sales. Then he got access to deals because he has such a wide reach. So it just grew and grew and grew. But I really doubt his main motivation was, I'm going to become a content creator. I think he just wanted to make money trading, and the content creation side naturally came along with it. So I'll never tell anybody not to do this, especially with airdrop opportunities like Kaido and Cookie out there, where simply being a creator and having a lot of reach and the right audience pays you a ton of money. But at the same time, I would take the approach of being really focused on one niche, which isn't content creation. Like making content about making content, I really don't like that. But I don't know, maybe become a meme coin trader, and then you post about the daily runners and your experience with them and how you made money on a certain coin, and teach people, and it'll just naturally evolve, and you're going to see opportunities are just going to come flooding in. So I'm actually going to put this in a bonus category, because the content creator side should come naturally as an extension to what you're already doing and not be your main focus. Now, the eighth and final way on our list to make money is going to be launching stuff. And that's either going to be doing a raise for a legitimate product, launching your own NFT, or launching a meme coin. And my advice to 99.9% of you is don't do it. It is not as easy as it looks. It is not worth the money. It is not worth the headache, and it's not worth the reputational damage, because this space is unforgiving. They are brutal. Yes, they have a very short memory where if you're in trouble, they'll probably forget in 3 days when the next thing happens. But those 3 days are going to be extremely painful, and they will never let you forget it. They will remind you for the rest of your life randomly. So unless you have spent a lot of time in the space, you understand the culture, you have the network, and you're able to actually build something, most of you should just drop that dream and learn a skill or something. So I don't know where to put this one. I want to put it in a don't do it category, but I'm going to put it in the skill based, because it is very difficult to launch a product. And that does it for today's video. I really hope you found it educational and helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Like I said, links to everything in the description down below. If there's something you want to learn more about and you want me to teach you, drop me a comment down below. I'll try to answer as many as I can around the bots. If you haven't already done so, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification. Thank you for watching another Crypto Gorilla video. Peace.